but this has sure made a nice other life for me musically. So I deeply appreciate you sitting and listening to me today and coming out. It's a great joy. And of course, most of us, people like me, have been off for a year and a little more with COVID. We've not been able to do things like this and it hurts our souls, believe me, to be able to have you people sitting here and being interested in listening to me play is a thrill of a lifetime. So I thank you again for coming out. So this is one of my original tunes. It's called Are We? And it's kind of a reflection of young love, right? Like when a couple is first getting together and then the chemistry starts happening. And it's like, what are we exactly? So this is called Are We? Thank you. Thank you very much. Excuse all the tuning, but one of the things that guitarists who play as I do is play in multiple tunings, right? So we take the standard tuning, or what we sometimes call missionary tuning, and twist the keys around and do things in different tunings. So we have to retune in between. All right, any Simon and Garfunkel fans out there? All right, I like those boys a lot. You know, they've had a sordid history. They started singing together in junior high school, and Artie Garfunkel discovered that fantastic high tenor voice that he has, harmony singer, just fantastic. And then the genius of Paul Simon's songwriting, just incredible. One of the great songwriters of the 20th century, without a doubt. And then they won all those awards in the 60s and stuff, and then they started fighting. You know, they'd fight every now and then. They'd break up for 5 or 10 years, not speak. And then one of them would call the other and go, we really should play. Okay. You know, and then they'd go out on tour and do some more stuff. I got to see them on one of their reunion tours a few years ago up in Oakland. So this is one of Paul Simon's songs for Simon & Garfunkel called April Come She Will. stay in the contemporary folk vein, do a little John Denver. John Denver recorded this composition of his, and it didn't really go anywhere. Didn't really make a hit tune. And then my friends Peter, Paul, and Mary recorded it. And it was their last big hit in the late 60s. And it's called Leavin' on a Jet Plane.
Oh, yes.
department to continue your theoretical studies in music.
Oh, I like it.
Okay, hit me again. That was an example of an unconventional final cadence ending on the dominant chord rather than the tonic.
Oh, I like that.
Okay.
It's a half.
John did that to
It's a half cadence.
give a
right?
sense of longing at the end.
Yes, yes.
Non-finality.
Unresolved. Unresolved.
All right, let's continue with John. This is my arrangement of a beautiful song of his, in my opinion, called My Sweet Lady. So, how I came to meet Peter, Paul, and Mary. Anybody know Peter, Paul, and Mary? Just know who they were? Well,
Not personally.
Noel, who's Paul, and Peter are still very much alive and performing. Noel has a new album out, actually. Well, I had heard when I was living in Reno so this was about the year 2000, about the year 2000. I had heard on the internet that somebody had stolen Peter's guitar from an airport, right? Came out through baggage check, and somebody had grabbed it and ran off with it. And this is the guitar that was, on all the Peter, Paul, and Mary things, Leaving on a Jet Plane, Lemon Tree, etc., etc., etc. Blowing in the Wind. Boy, did Bob Dylan and Peter, Paul, and Mary make each other a lot of money on that song, Blowing in the Wind. Well, somebody stole the guitar, and I heard about it on the internet. And so, as I am wont to do, from a friend of a friend of a friend, I found out Peter's email address. And I emailed him and said, I have that exact guitar. I have that exact guitar, and I got it back when I was playing guitar because of you, right? You've always been a musical hero to me, and so if you want a replacement that's exactly like that guitar that you lost, I would be happy to send my guitar to you because I haven't played in years and I'm not playing now. So I would be happy to send it to you, and you can use it as long as you like. If you decide to keep it, my compliments, right? I just, you're my hero. He wrote back in about an hour and said, well, the maker of the guitar, whose name is Jean Larive, in Santa Barbara, actually, has fixed me up. He's built me 2 brand new ones, and so I'm fine. Thank you, but I don't need your guitar. But thank you very much. But I see that you're in Reno. We're down in Las Vegas next weekend for a gig, and we would very much like to meet the person who would make such an offer to me. We'd like to meet you. And by the way, let's jam. Okay, so I made my way down to Reno, down to Las Vegas, and they're playing at the Palace Station. And I went in and about 9 in the morning to backstage there, and sitting there playing guitar was their sideman, their accompanist, whose name is Paul Prestopino, famous sideman folkie. Peter, Paul, and Mary, James Taylor, the Brothers Four, all over the place. He's a famous side guy, right? Guitarist and banjo player. And so we sat and, let me see that guitar. And we looked at it, that's great. Let's play something. So, okay. And so we played a little, I played him My Sweet Lady, actually, because I had written that arrangement a long time ago. And I'm sitting there playing My Sweet Lady, and Paul is joining in, Presto is his name. So Presto was joining in these sweet little fills around my arrangement, just making my arrangement really good, and special. And I hear footsteps behind me. This is a kind of a dark, semi-dark backstage in a theater, right? So if you've been there, you know the picture. And I hear these footsteps, and I'm trying to play the best I can. And I look over my shoulder, and around me walks Mary Travers. So Mary, Peter, Paul, and Mary. And I'm thinking to myself, oh, come on, kid, just hold it together. Just hold it together. Keep playing. Don't make an idiot out of yourself. And she said, pretty soon she starts humming along. And pretty soon she's singing full on. She's singing My Sweet Lady with Presto and me playing. And I'm just thrilled. I have tears in my eyes, right? And we come to the end, and she looks at me and she says, man, I miss him. Meaning John Denver. I miss him so much. We were dear friends, and I just, it's a hole in my life with him being out of the world. Shakes her head, looks at me, and goes, who the hell are you? And we became friends from that moment. And I spent the rest of the day backstage with, jamming with Peter, Paul, and Mary. and they invited me to their pre-concert ritual every time for all through the years was to they made soup, homemade soup right backstage in the green room, and they would eat their soup together as a community. So they invited me to join in with that, and pretty soon Peter says, well, you know, according to our jam we had a minute ago, you know all of our tunes, and you know them all in the right key, and you play them good. That's how he said it. You play them good. Once in a while, Presto can't make the gig. You know, would you consider being like on our sub list for Presto Pino? He doesn't miss the gig very often, but once in a while, you know, he's sick or something. Would you consider doing that? I said, oh, sure, absolutely. Are you kidding? And I'm thinking to myself, I'm going to start playing guitar again. I'll get into it. And he said, oh, and so by the way, how's your banjo playing? Well, I don't think I'd ever touched a banjo before. And so I went, oh, I'm a little rusty, but I'll practice. And then that's been a pattern in my life. People ask me to do some musical thing and I've never done it before, and I just agree to do it. Then I learn to do it. It's kind of the way I am. So I went home, bought a banjo, started practicing banjo. And I played one gig with Peter, Paul, and Mary. I got a call 2 days before the gig saying, can you be Friday night in Wheeling, West Virginia? We'll send you the ticket. Sure. So off I went to Wheeling, West Virginia, and played on stage with Peter, Paul, and Mary. And then Peter, Paul, and Mary had a gig booked at the PAC, at the Cal Poly PAC. And Peter, who was kind of the head of the group, writes me and says, you know, Presto's okay, but we thought, you know, you're our friend, and this is your new hometown, San Luis Obispo is your new town. How would you like to play the gig with us? You know, it might kind of make some, you know, get your creds in your new town, right? Yeah. And we'd love to see you anyway. So I said, sure, absolutely. Well, that was about 6 weeks before the gig was to happen. And the next week it came out that Mary had been diagnosed with leukemia. And so that gig was canceled, and so I didn't get to do that gig, and they canceled for about a year, and then they came back and started playing again, and Mary, with, instead of her kind of classic, you know, long blonde bob, you know, she had real short hair from chemo, and but still sang great, and they did for a while, and then of course Mary passed on. But it's a sweet memory for me, and it's another thing besides running into Lawrence Juber that got me back into playing guitar. So I'm forever indebted to them. So this is a tune by my friend up in Portland named Mark Hansen, fabulous guitar player and fabulous guitar teacher. It's called Canyon Canon. And by the way, every other semester, this is the final exam in my intermediate guitar class. So if you would like to learn some guitar, you can do that. I'm one more semester, this coming semester that starts August 16th. I'm doing it online one more time. The campus is largely going to be back in person, but we had, the faculty got to pick, you know, as a transition, do you want to do some things online still, right? And I said, yeah, let me do the guitar class online one more time, and then I'll bring it back to in person, when presumably COVID will be more in our rear view mirror. So if you'd like to take guitar online with me, you can do that. You just sign up at Cuesta, it's free of charge. And I think tuition, it's 2 credits, so it's probably about $100. You get 18 weeks of guitar instruction. So if you're interested in such a thing, you don't have to leave your house. Just do it online with me. You don't even have to do it at a specific time of day or day of the week. I post the videos on Monday, and then you have all week to work on that stuff. So it's an option if you'd like to play some guitar. Any of you play guitar already? Yes, I know you do. Yeah, great. I hope to hear you play something. So this is Canyon Canon. Wind hair.
Jen, that was left hanging too.
Yeah, that was a little left hanging. What am I doing? All right. Hello. So the next piece is a wonderful little tune, I think, by my other guitar teacher I mentioned, Dorian Michael. And this is called One Without the Other. So much. So, excuse me, some people are always interested in all this rigmarole I have up here. Acoustic guitar players spend a lot of time and money trying to figure out how to play acoustic guitar louder, how to plug it in and yet make it sound like an acoustic guitar. It's kind of a conundrum that we do. So my guitars, almost all my guitars, are made by a local guitar builder named Mike Baranek. Mike lives and builds his guitars in Templeton, And he just happens to be a local guy. He's one of the best luthiers. That's what we call people who make string instruments, a luthier. He's one of the best in the world. He's in huge demand. Builds them one at a time, and he's booked for like the next 5 years. So if you want a guitar from Michael, you got to get in line. So I'm really proud of my guitars by Mike Baranek. He's also just a swell guy. So this is Sinker Redwood on the top, which means that they found a redwood tree in a river somewhere, and it had been under the water for who knows how long, gathering up all these minerals from the water and so forth, and making it pretty and making it sound just a certain way. The backs and sides are Brazilian rosewood. Everybody go, ooh. Thank you very much. And Brazilian rosewood is a protected wood. You can't really harvest it anymore for guitars or furniture, which I think is a good thing. But this piece of Brazilian Mike had for about 20 years, just stuck away. And I talked him out of it to build a guitar for. I can't take this guitar out of the country because when I would go to England or somewhere, the customs people and it's called CITES, C-I-T-I-E-S, an organization that looks out for protected stuff, would see that and go, nah, you can't have that anymore, and they'd keep it.
No.
They would keep it. So you can't take it out of the country anymore. So I had a trip to England a year ago, and I took another guitar to practice. And then this monstrosity-looking thing is by Bose, the same Bose company that makes sometimes your clock radios and stuff like that. But this is from their professional division, and they make a really wonderful PA system. The cable is by Mogami, which is made in Santa Maria. The pickup in the guitar is made by LR Bags, which is in Santa Maria. I stay local as much as I can. And the shirt is by Macy's in Santa Barbara. John Fahey, and made famous by the Leo Kottke. This is The Last Steam Engine Train. Very much. I have just a couple more for about 2 or 3, depending on what. Y'all okay? You good for 2 or 3 more?
Yeah.
Okay. dad passed away a few years ago, and on the way back from his burial in Oklahoma, family, all but me are Okies. Family came out this way during the Dust Bowl period, and Dad went into construction after the Navy in World War II. Dad was 1 week before December 7, 1941. 1 week before that, he had enlisted in the Navy, and he got his orders to, after basic, to report to Pearl Harbor, Hawaii. So he did. He showed up to Pearl Harbor 1 week after December 7th. He was an SP, right? He was a Navy Cup, and then went into construction. I miss him dearly. So when we buried him in Oklahoma, I fell asleep on the plane ride on the way back home, and when I woke up, I had this song. So this is called My Dad, Jack. Appreciate it greatly. So, Dad, as I mentioned, went into construction. Could you tell what section was the power tools section?
Yes.
Grew grew up with the sound of skill saws and table saws in my ears. Smell of sawdust. All right, well, thank you again, everybody, for coming and for listening. Again, it just, for performers like me, it just means a great deal. It means so much. The groups that I conduct, which are the Quest and Wind Ensemble, the very fine, about half and half students and half community members. That's the 4-credit ensemble at the college. Meets on Wednesday nights if any of you play a wind or percussion instrument. One of you do, I know. Starting on August 18th, we'll be meeting at 7 p.m. The whole last year, we had to meet outside on the porch of the CPAC, on the front porch of the theater. 7 o'clock to 9 o'clock on Wednesday nights, through the rain, through the wind, through the smoke. If you remember back about this time last year with the fires and stuff and all that smoke coming down the state. And I heard not one complaint from any of the students. Everybody was just happy to play music. That's how much it means to all of us. So now we'll be back inside. New filtration system in all the buildings in Cuesta. And we'll still play it very, very safe. Everybody will wash their hands and sanitize. And if you're not inoculated, you have to get a test every week in order to show up and play. So there's that group. And then the professional concert band I conduct in town called the San Luis Obispo Wind Orchestra. We'll be starting back up in January. Those folks are a little older and a little more cautious. And so they want to wait a little longer. So January we'll be starting back up. Our first concert will be include a performance of Rhapsody in Blue with the great Rudolph Budginas as the pianist. So if you know Rudolph, who's left the area now, but was a great pianist here in the area, Rudolph Budginas. He'll be playing Rhapsody in Blue with us. And then I conduct an opera company, as Carmen mentioned, the Central Coast Gilbert and Sullivan. So we'll be back in production for next summer, doing Gilbert and Sullivan's play Ruddigore. Then the next summer is Mikado, and the next one's Pirates of Penzance, and the next one is HMS Pinafore, and etc. We're trying to make our way through all 13 of the Gilbert and Sullivan operas. So thank you again for listening. If you are a music maker, please keep making music. If you are a music consumer, which obviously you are, please keep consuming. Come out and hear live music at Opportunity. We all just really appreciate it. So this is my latest original tune. It's called Cowgirl Lullaby. So the picture I'm trying to paint here is all the little cowgirls and cowboys are in their bunks. They've had a hard day at the roundup. Everybody's in their bunks getting their sleep for the next morning. And so this is Cowgirl Lullaby. Carmen. What a wonderful thing that Carmen puts these things together. Yeah,
That's
let's
great.
thank Carmen.
You know, you can come back anytime,
I
Jen.
will come back anytime you ask.
Yes. Yeah. Maybe in 6 months. You know, first of the year or something. Okay. All right. Thank you again. And I'm going to show the whole. Here's the whole. And Roger, you helped me a lot. Technology, yes. Bye, everyone. And bye, Jen.